is new on NFL Live from Jordan Renan. Wink Martindale is actually resigning as defensive coordinator of the Giants, per source. His relationship with Brian Daboll, a big part of the divorce. Again, that's per Jordan Renan. Certainly should have options elsewhere. The Giants' two most recent opponents, the Rams and the Eagles, spoke glowingly of his scheme, as Mina just referenced. Marcus, now earlier this morning we had heard that the team had let go of two of his assistants, but they were retaining him. Now Wink Martindale has left. What's your reaction?
Yeah, first of all, this is Wink on his shield, and I know him and have a tremendous amount of respect for him, and I'm sure that didn't sit well with guys from his staff being dismissed. He's a really good defensive mind. He's done it at a very high level for a long time, and obviously he'll have options throughout this league because he's super well respected, and people will love to have Wink Martindale on the staff. He was the linebackers coach when I was in Baltimore, one of the best men that I've met in this league. So good luck to him. Onward and upward, Wink.
Yeah, just 2 years there, the entirety of Brian Daboll's tenure. We'll see how that all plays out. Marcus, thanks. And Adam Schefter on what is traditionally a day of sweeping changes for franchises that have underachieved. We now have 5 coaching openings in the NFL as of this moment. Adam, get us started in Washington, please.
The one that started today's events, Hannah, was in Washington, and it involved Ron Rivera, who's battled through so much during his time in Washington. But when Washington changed owners and Dan Snyder sold to Josh Harris and his group, it became inevitable over time that they would want their people in. And today they make the change and they bring aboard Bob Myers, the former Warriors general manager from the NBA, to assist in their search for a new head coach and general manager. There's a new head coaching search going on in Atlanta as well. The Falcons head coach Arthur Smith fired late last night after 3 7-10 seasons in which they had a different starting quarterback every year, couldn't get any stability at the quarterback position, and now they have some instability at the coaching ranks as the owner, Arthur Blank, Rich McKay, and the general manager, Terry Fontenot, will lead this team's search to find a new head coach. And we continue to await word from New England about Bill Belichick. Most people thought he would be moving on. The two sides would be parting ways, but here we are, Hannah, closing in on the 5 o'clock hour on the East Coast, and still no word, which tells you that this is a complicated situation. There's a lot to discuss between the Patriots owner, Robert Kraft, and Bill Belichick himself. These are thoughtful decisions, and it wasn't like Robert Kraft and Bill met this morning and Robert Kraft said, Bill, we're moving on. They are clearly discussing what has gone wrong, what could go right, seeing if there's any way to save it, or ultimately if they let Bill Belichick move on. But even if they do let him move on, I don't expect that they'll seek compensation if that's the path that the Patriots choose.
Did you say you do not expect them to look for compensation?
Correct, Hannah. I do not expect them to seek compensation in return for Bill Belichick in the event that they do decide to make a change at the head coaching position.
The future of Bill Belichick in New England after the Patriots lost to the Jets in that ugly season finale to fall to 4-13 this season. The future Hall of Fame coach addressed the media this morning before meeting with his players, and Mike Reese was there. Mike, what do we need to know?
Hannah, tense times here in Foxborough. Bill Belichick held his final team meeting with players at 9 o'clock, and the players have since scattered. And that's opened the window for the other meeting that Belichick referenced, with ownership led by Robert Kraft to discuss his future. Belichick said those type of meetings after a season are common. And with reporters earlier this morning, he said something interesting for him. Have a listen.
I'm in a contract, do what I always do, which is, every day I come in, work as hard as I can to help the team in whatever way I can. I learned that lesson from my dad growing up. You work for the team that you're working for and do the best you can for it until somebody tells you different. So that's not going to change.
Belichick has a long-standing rule to never mention his contract. It's been one of the closest guarded secrets in the NFL over the last 24 years. By putting it out there today, Belichick basically said he's plowing ahead as coach until told otherwise. Hannah?
Mike, thank you so much. Mina, let's start with you because Belichick said that he would give up his GM duties if that was in the best interest of the team. In your estimation, what's the ideal outcome for New England here?
Well, I think that would be it, Hannah, that you would bring in an outside GM because GM, and Belichick's the de facto GM of the Patriots, is where he has struggled the most. I saw a stat that blew my mind. It was from Zach Cox at Nesson, who posted that the Patriots have not signed a player drafted in the first 3 rounds to a second contract since 2013. It was Duron Harmon. And when you look at the drafts over the last few years, there's just so many missteps, so many missed opportunities, whether it was, Lamar Jackson at quarterback or the many wide receivers who were taken instead of the ones that New England selected. But even on the other side of the ball as well, although the defense has been better. And on top of that, there's been struggles in free agency. The Patriots have a lot of draft capital, a lot of cap space this year. The last time they had this much cap space was in 2021 when they went on a huge spending spree. Many of those decisions don't look good in retrospect. You remember the Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith contracts. Matt Judon worked out. Nelson Aguilar didn't. Point is, any GM with Belichick's record over the last 10 years would have been let go. So if they're able to bring in an outside voice to basically navigate what is going to be a pivotal offseason, especially with pick 3 and that need at quarterback, that would, I think, be a huge coup and a positive change. And I would trust Bill to fix some of the issues in coaching.
MK, I love what you said about the general manager thing. I think, I'm a little bit more abrasive as I tend to be. I think it's time for a breakup. I think it's time for Bill Belichick to start anew and the New England Patriots to usher in a new era. And when I was trying to think about, how could this make sense, Marcus, it's hard when you're talking about arguably the greatest coach in the history of football. And I think he is. But it's also, I'm a big basketball fan. Phil Jackson reinvented himself. The key is having players, right? Phil Jackson left Michael Jordan in Chicago and went to Kobe and Shaq in LA. And I think Bill Parcells has shown enough that if he has a quarterback and an offense that can hum, he's always going to be a part of the championship conversation. And look, I understand drafting a quarterback and where their positioning is. But the thing that's been very interesting to me too is why is it this clamor to get Bill Belichick? Maybe everybody's waiting, but I think it's going to be night and day if he finds out he's let go. It'll be quick that he signs somewhere else.